Hello and welcome to another wonderful talk at the Positive Future for Health podcast. I'm your host, Althea Finch. I'm the creator of the Pain Free Method, How to Be Pain Free by Tuning Into You. And you can find out more about that at painfreedom.co.uk. And this week we have a taster session. So if you wanted to learn how to be pain free and you wanted to come into the program and have a look and find out what's going on, the taster session is on Thursday evening. And I also run a 90-day program where I teach you to be pain to pain free, and it has special offers at the moment. So if you are in pain or suffering some kind of condition, come into painfreedom.co.uk and take it from there. So on as well as teaching people how to be pain free, I run this podcast, which I started to. I felt that gap between what I can teach somebody and all these amazing guests like Juliana we've got tonight of natural health experts that in their world are teaching us about what they know about and their experiences. And we all educate and help each other to get to good health. So today we have the wonderful Juliana Werner. She has actually been on the podcast before and with other things, but tonight she's going to be talking about perimenopause and what's all that about. Juliana, what made you get into this subject and know about this area of things?
Well, thank you, Atia, for having me again. And well, what made me start working with this subject is the fact that I'm realized that I'm going through perimenopause myself. And it's a journey that it's been going on for 4 years already. And, I wish I had known before that many of the symptoms I had were all related to perimenopause.
Mm.
So that was made me go into the field of understanding what's going on with my body really, and trying to help myself first and hopefully exchange some tools with other women who are also going through this and struggling to navigate or finding the ways to navigate, and maybe this can be a beginning of a conversation.
Fantastic. And when did you feel things were going on, or what did you feel? How old were you?
So it's an interesting story because I started feeling the first symptoms just after I met my partner. So I'm 36 years old and I met this gorgeous man that I want to have kids with and I want to build a life together. And then a few months into the relationship, maybe 3 or 4 months after we started seeing each other, my libido was completely gone.
Oh.
So I thought something's not quite right, like we should be eating each other alive, not like this. So I went to the GP, and was the first symptom that I shared. There was a loss of libido, and I started to have lots of problems with water retention, to feeling bloated every day, problems with constipation. My digestion was really not functioning very well. So I went to the GP, we did blood tests, we tried to check what was the cause for it, and nothing came out. So I had from then on lots of joint pain, lots of dryness on my skin, headaches intensified, this pressure on my TMJ that sometimes feels like I can't really hear myself,
Wow.
difficulties swallowing pills, for example, peeing constantly, and then while feeling that I need to pee, and then sometimes getting to the toilet and nothing comes out. So
Mm.
all these things are symptoms of, their natural response to the decline of estrogen and progesterone and testosterone as well. So I was trying to find the cause, and nothing of the symptoms were relating to each other, and then I started to read things about perimenopause because I knew it was coming. And then I thought,
Mm.
oh, I already have this, and I already have this. And most of us, we hear about night sweats or um, brain fog or memory loss. I think the sweats are the ones that people more say, oh yeah, you're probably
Yeah.
perimenopausal. But there's
Yeah.
so many other things. And for me, one of the most distressing ones that until maybe 6 months ago, I didn't know it was from perimenopause, is this anxiety in my body. So sometimes I might be doing the dishes, for example, and my heart just goes crazy as if I was
Mm.
running from a tiger. So it's a very disproportionate, reaction to the things I'm experiencing on my daily life. And then because my breathing gets so shallow, that's all, is difficult to help my nervous system to get there. So the reason why I decided, to bring this more on my work and really working together with you to bring awareness in this podcast today
Mm.
is because most of these symptoms, I had no idea that they were symptoms of perimenopause.
Because
And
they're quite subtle, aren't they? As you say, like why would your heart be racing, or the brain fog? I think, I mean, I've experienced a lot of the things you mentioned, and I think that you sort of just live it and don't realize, oh, that's menopause. You sort of, is it or isn't it? I know I spent a long time, like about 4 years of very heavy period, like crazy heavy period I've never experienced in my life. Like, is this? Is it that? Is this menopause? Is that normal? And all these different things that you've mentioned.
yeah.
When you're going through it, it's quite subtle, isn't it? And then it sort of creeps up on you.
And the thing is that, of course, we're all different, We might experience completely different symptoms. Like,
Yeah,
I've always had painful periods since my first bleeding. And
right.
the factors, for example, because everyone kept saying to me, you're too young to be perimenopausal. And I believed until I went to inform myself. I went to get to, know what other people were saying about, what other researchers, doctors are saying about. And there's three factors in special that I had no idea. They interfere a lot in the age that a woman can start the perimenopause. And
What factors?
these three factors are if you had your first bleeding at age 11,
Huh?
that when compared to girls who had their first bleeding just 1 year later, for example, had already a massive difference. So starting at 11 and 12 makes a massive difference in the years of, when you're starting your perimenopause journey. And the two other things was the fact that, I've never really had kids. I had a pregnancy that lasts 3 months, so that was the maximum of interruption of my cycles that I had in my whole fertile life. So it's been pretty much 30 years that I've been bleeding every month in the same. I never really had late periods. And as soon as I turned 40, my periods start to go crazy. Like I bleed every 2 weeks and then I stop bleeding. I bleed after 1 week and then I don't bleed for 5 weeks and then I bleed again for 2 weeks. And it's like I never know anymore when my cycle is coming or not. And it's quite distressing because it's the only thing in my life that was constant throughout my life.
Yeah,
So now it's like, okay, what's going on and how can I support myself with that? Like some people don't understand and maybe we don't talk much about it and we get confused with this terminology of menopause, perimenopause. Menopause is clinically the 1 day after 12 months without a bleeding. But your perimenopause is the journey that might take from 7 to 10 years until your hormones start to go a bit crazy and you have your last bleeding. So it's quite a long time, for
yeah,
us not knowing how to support our bodies. And for me, made a massive difference now that I know that it's perimenopause, how to, look for support, like how to feel my body. I've seen a lot of people talking about muscle mass, for example, that we lose with perimenopause, especially after 41% a year. We have
muscle. What did you say? Muscle? Did you
muscle
say?
mass, muscle mass,
Muscle mass. Mm.
yes. Bone density is another thing. Osteoporosis is big, when we enter perimenopause because the changes in the hormones influence everything. Changes in the brain, on the heart. We have more how do you say this, more chances to have a heart attack and to develop Alzheimer's disease, for example, because the estrogen is helps as an anti-inflammatory. As soon as we have lower, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, everything is kind of adapting. We have more inflammation, we have more water retention, we have so many other things. Our lymphatic system starts to get clogged, and if we don't do anything to support, it will be harder and harder to go through this transition period, because it's quite a big transition. It's
Yes.
not like you can sleep through it and
Yeah.
next week will be better. No, you have to
Done.
really put the work on it.
Well, I suppose it's because we've lived many, many years as a woman having monthly periods, and then we don't. I know for me it's because it's psychological, it's emotional, and it's physical, and it's life circumstance. I mean, I know I'm happy to be clean now all the time. I'm like, done. Had enough of that. It's nice to be clean all the time from that point of view. But emotionally, it's like, I mean, I was lucky enough to have children, but I thought, gosh, what if I couldn't get pregnant and have babies before it was too late? That must be massive. I don't know. And you went through something, it sounds awful. 3 months for your baby,
And
and
yeah,
all goes in there, your emotions and thoughts and things, isn't it? And then, as you say, the actual menopause itself, I reckon it takes around about 10 years on average. I know for
yeah,
me, I
it's,
went through stop starting and having and starting and stopping and wasn't sure if it was this. And then I had the crazy heavy periods out of nowhere, floods. It was unreal. And then nothing for months. And then is it going? Is it coming? Am I in menopause? Lots of confusion. So
yes,
it's
that's
every
why
level.
it's important for us to talk about, because imagine
Yeah.
if you had known maybe in the beginning of your journey that all those things were part of perimenopause, you wouldn't feel like you were going crazy sometimes. Like for me, it got to a point these days where I just realized, listening to podcasts, that lots of symptoms of ADHD, not the hyperactive type, but the I type, they get potentialized in menopause. And I had never known I had ADHD. So for me, this is something very new to find out about myself, that it was because of this journey. There's so much that the perimenopause awareness brought to me, like so much of knowledge and curiosity about my own body, you know, trying different diets. For example, 4 years ago, I was pretty much vegetarian. And then one day my body felt like I wanted to eat meat. And I haven't had meat most of my life, but my body really
Ah,
craved meat. So I started eating meat. After 1 year of having meat every day, I now can eat butter, I can eat cheese. I'm not intolerant to lactose anymore. So somehow that diet was very extreme, but fixed things with my digestive system. When I had
yeah.
through two completely sugar-free diets last year. Every time you put your body through something that it needs to adjust itself, I believe it comes much stronger on the other side, like fasting, for example. You deprive your body from that food for a while, and your body will use the cells that are not serving you anymore as a fuel. So even though it's a challenging thing, go through a fasting, definitely makes your body stronger. So for me, the perimenopause journey is a journey of, connecting to your body, understanding what your needs are, finally prioritizing
Beautiful.
yourself. That is something that most women don't grow up doing it.
That's beautiful. I love what you said just then about tuning in, basically, isn't it? And so the three things that we need then. So what are the three? You said there were three things.
So the three things, there are signs that a woman probably will start an early perimenopause. Again, just to average age of menopause in these countries for 45 to 55 years old. This is average age. So that means that a woman can start her perimenopause journey 10 years before she stops bleeding. So
Mm,
average would be around their 40s. Yeah, I think average age would be around 50 years old here. So that window of age is either we are very close to or we are already going through, but we might not be aware. Yeah.
mm,
And you know, um these things are influence. There's nothing you can do about, you know. If you started bleeding early, if you never had kids, and if you've been sexually abused, these things will unfortunately bring the beginning of your perimenopause much earlier.
yes.
It's not something that you can avoid. It is coming. Yeah. What I believe we can do is prepare ourselves to arrive into perimenopause with stronger bodies. And that means, for example, exercising,
Mm,
not doing yoga. Lots of my clients, lots of the people I work with massage and body work, especially women, if I ask them, what do you do? What's your activity? Yoga is 95% of what they say. And yes, yoga is amazing. I like yoga. And I think especially because there's the component of working with your breathing.
yes.
But we do need to push our bodies a little bit more. We do need to have a little bit more impact on our joints because it's the impact on the bone that it's going to make the bone stronger. It's
Ah,
making the fibers when you do heavy weights that will make the muscle stronger. So
yes.
it's not by sitting down and saving energy that we make the body stronger. We make the body stronger when we're actually using energy, yeah, to make the body move. So
Yes.
we do need to do this, and we do need to be careful with our diets, um,
Mm,
especially the things we put in our skin, you know, sleep
yeah.
with synthetic materials, because everything you put in your skin, it goes into your blood, into your body. It's
Yes, absolutely.
someone
Mm.
said the other day, if you can't eat it, you shouldn't put it in your skin. And I
I
thought,
heard
well,
that
that's
too.
really
Yeah.
advice, you know,
It is.
and it will help a lot for us to keep our hormones kind of in a little bit better balance instead of being all over the place because of microplastic, because of toxicity in the environment, you know.
So there's all different angles, isn't it? It's your emotional state, it's your physical state to do exercise, it's taking care of being aware of what you're going through, it's recognizing the signs, and it's a whole kind of mix of different things, and then doing practical physical things, the food, what you're putting on your body, your environment, and I think a big part of it is just being aware, isn't it, of I know the strategy that I took was just to relax with it, let the hot flushes come, just let them, because I went through a big stage, months of it coming and going, and I just sort of relax with it, let it come, and I found that easier to cope with. It was easier once the bloods had finished because it was just that was crazy. It was crazy, crazy nuts, bleeding that I'd never experienced, and Sarah's asking, what signals post menopause? Are there sort of particular signposts
Say it
of?
again.
She said she wanted to know about the stages of female body changing. What signals post menopause? What signals that you're getting over it, coming out the other end?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you from my own experience because I feel like I'm really in the beginning of my journey.
Okay.
But I think as you get closer to having no more eggs left, there's no much of miscommunication. Things get a little bit easier in the communication between your brain and your body. Yeah, because when we think about menopause, first is a taboo thing that it's related to age or a woman now that's not able to bear kids anymore. No function for society, pretty much. We are getting older. No, we're getting wiser. We are going through a spiritual transformation, you know. It is definitely a rite of passage. But when the body goes from having a cycle where every month the estrogen and progesterone go up and go down in a certain order, and then suddenly everything gets very messy, it's when all the symptoms starts to appear more. I would say, how do you manage your symptoms and how you get to menopause? It's mainly due to how you relate to your journey. So, for
Mm.
example, if you now I know I'm perimenopausal and I'm doing things like increasing my fiber, increasing
Mm.
my protein, I'm taking collagen, I take creatine, I take magnesium, I take omega-3, vitamin D, things that 4 years ago I wouldn't take. I didn't think I needed, you know.
Mm.
Um, Cutting completely the polyester clothes. So avoiding things that will bring plastic or chemicals into your skin, avoiding chemicals, skincare,
Mm.
because again, everything you're putting into your body's reacting to it. So I the hot flashes is something that you can stop bleeding, and years after, my mom is going through this now. She stopped bleeding 15 years ago. She still has hot flashes. There are things that we can do, like sage tea, for example, is one that helps a lot with the hot flashes. And what helped me a lot was to start focusing on my lymphatic system, you know? So more you support your body to detoxify and to deal with whatever is going on, because it's not like unless you take unless you do hormone replacement therapy, you
Mm.
can't really regulate your hormones. They will be a roller coaster for as long as they will be until there's no more eggs left. Because when we are born with the exact amount of eggs that we're gonna have through our whole lives.
Mm.
So when the last egg is gone, it's gone. Our brain will not keep informing our bodies to produce more because
Yeah. I know
so
what.
the
Mm.
symptoms tend to get easier as you
Mm.
cross the line. But then again, the lack of estrogen can encourage or make it more, how do you say this word? More likely that someone who's gone through menopause might have Alzheimer's disease. But then, having said that, only 30% of how we experience this body and the things that we develop as diseases come from genetics. Most of the if you
Mm.
think about the scale, the way your body is, the way your body deals with inflammation, the way your body deals with perimenopause, it's not a genetic. There is might be a genetic component, but it's mainly about what you do with your life. Do you exercise? Do you eat well? And eating well is
Mm.
very relative. I thought I ate well 4 years ago, and then I've realized that I ate lots of processed food, but it was gluten-free, it was sugar-free. But then to replace those things, there was
Mm.
lots of other chemicals that really were affecting my body, and I wasn't aware, you know.
It's funny that, isn't it? So you thought you're doing so well and
I thought I was doing
choosing
amazing. I,
choosing carefully, wasn't it? But of course that's the process, isn't it? The process of it. Um, and I know when I finally stopped bleeding, I think it took like, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years, very sporadic and crazy stopping and starting. But when it did finally stop, I was still every month. I knew it was my time of month because all the irritation was rising and my boobs got tender and sore and it was I thought, gosh, it's everything's happening similar, but no bleed. And I thought, well, this is just as you say, things will keep carrying on because I thought, well, you spent a lifetime in this rhythm, a lifetime of decades in this rhythm, and of course, there's going to be a kind of rhythm that carries on for a bit. Um, and I think that's normal, isn't it? It's got to be normal. And to know what are the signals, what it could be, and it could be younger. And you mentioned about inner triggers, like past triggers, like sexual abuse, or if somebody starts early. So if somebody starts early, you might get an early menopause, 11, 12 years old. I mean, I started at 14, and I hear that the natural state age is supposed to be about 16. So I know my daughter, she started at 11, and some girls younger in her class.
I think there's a lot of, we have been, our bodies are receiving lots of things that all the generations didn't receive. I've been to a festival a month ago and I was talking to this lady. She was on her 80s. And I asked her, how did you deal with perimenopause? And she said, I had none. One day I bled like almost to death, and then I never bled again. Said I never had any hot flashes, nothing. But she was someone, she was from Sweden, yeah, grew up in the countryside, which a culture that she said going to sauna and then jumping in the lake. So her immune system was really strong. She didn't grow up with processed food that you go to Tesco and get 3 pounds meal deal with sugar everywhere, with refined seed oils and things like that. So unfortunately, I feel like perimenopause has been a journey that it's getting harder and harder in the youngest generation. Like, I don't know if we just didn't talk about it before, or
I
because
guess
I
not.
talk about my mom talk about hot flashes, but now I think the anger that I feel, I remember my mom very angry back then, and maybe she didn't realize that that was all this
Mm.
anger was part, because the amount of women I've been talking to and they talk about this anger, it's like intoxicating.
Well,
I
I
just
had that
said,
too. Interesting.
you
I,
did,
I didn't, yeah, but I didn't.
but
I
you
think it's
didn't know it was perimenopause.
I didn't. I didn't think about that. No, I didn't think at all. Even now, it's just like, oh, perhaps that was all perimenopause. I mean,
And
my partner. I mean, I'm not with the father of my children anymore, but he was noting it. He's saying, "Oh, she's going through it." I'm like, I'm not going through anything. But
because
he
also
was.
we grew up with this, there is a very negative thing, associated to perimenopause. Is like, it means you're getting older. It means you have less sex. It means that you'll have less fun. It doesn't have to be like that. And I think that's why it's so important for us to talk about it and to first getting to know our bodies. Because, if we do know our bodies, we'll know when these changes start to happen. I don't know if I replied if I answered the question about the symptoms, but you you will know when you're past menopause. So you become post-menopausal after you had your last bleeding. The sign that you're postmenopausal is that you had your last bleeding.
Mm,
So it's not much about which symptoms you know that when it's over, you have a concrete proof. You know it's
mm,
over because you have your
yeah.
last bleeding. 1 year later, you're gonna be a postmenopausal, but for us who are starting in this journey now, or who are going through for a while and are not aware, we can still do lots of things. We can still support our bodies and do little practices every day. I don't mean you have to spend 3 hours in the gym, but you can start your day jumping for 5 minutes in the rebounder, which is what I've been doing for the last year, and it
Mm,
really helped me you know so it's the
yes.
little things that will really support you in this journey, not to avoid or to treat, because it's not a disease. There's no treatment for
No.
menopause, but you can have some tools that will help you to support your body in whatever it is that you need.
Exactly, and it's being aware of it, it's learning about that. So, how has this affected the work that you do? Because if you want to just share with the viewers about what's your work that you do, how has it influenced what you do and are you teaching more about with your clients about perimenopause or helping them understand and recognize? But if you just want to share about what you do first, so people know.
Yeah, so I'm a massage therapist and a bodywork practitioner. My background is physical education, health and sports, and I have a master in science of human movement. I'm a dancer, I'm a dance movement facilitator, and I bring a lot of my work is weaving these worlds of movement and touch. Even though my main focus, let's say, is the massage, is my one of my biggest passions is the touch and to feel how much we can transform and heal in the body with through the touch. Um, and yes, it's interesting because me going through perimenopause and now feels like lots of my clients are going through perimenopause. And
Like
it's a
attracts
very
like, no?
interesting thing. Yeah, it's a very interesting thing because before I never really thought about it. So it's not something even that I would have on my consultation for. Now it's something that I always ask about. Where are you on your moon? Do you
Mm,
bleed? You don't bleed? Do you do hormone therapy? You're a teenager, you're in beginning of your fertile years. All of this makes difference, in the way we are using our bodies. Because my work is not only you come to me or give you a massage, you go home and you come next time when you're in pain.
mm.
My work is how can
Education.
how can we work together for you understanding your body?
Mm,
Because I can tell them you need to do this and this and that for, rebalancing your body. If they don't do it, if they don't see the results, if they don't do it for long enough to see the effect on their bodies, they're not going to do it just because I'm saying, you know?
yes.
And my work, it's not a client product. It's a teamwork, When people come to see me, they know that they're going to have to put a little bit of work. It's not like they come to me, you fix me, I go home and I keep doing whatever I was doing. No. So, of course, I always have this. My approach with my work is we are talking about health. How can we find
Yeah.
these pillars of health? How can we think about your diet, your sleep, your movement, your exercise, which exercise, which diet, which supplements might help. No, so all these things are very interesting now coming together and being able to share with the female network that I have, not only clients but friends, other people who've been through similar things or who are thinking about, oh, I'm worried because I don't really want to think about it. You know,
Yes.
there are some women who don't really want to think about it, and I understand because I also didn't want to think about it, but my body pushed me to the limit that I couldn't ignore anymore. You know,
Mm. Because you were getting quite strong reactions, weren't you? You said your heart was going 90 miles an hour, and then the
the
flushes.
anxiety is good, but it's not only the anxiety that is going in this level, is the brain fog, is the fatigue. It's waking
Yes.
up and feeling exhausted as if I've been running a marathon instead of resting. So it's like the body's constantly tired because I forget things. Let's say if I have to do something upstairs, I might be halfway through and I don't remember what I was going to
Had
do.
that. I know
So
it's
I
so
have
annoying,
to come
isn't
downstairs and then
it?
trace it again and try it again. And sometimes that might happen 10 times in the day. And the 10 times I forget what I was going to do. It's really surreal
It's so
sometimes.
it's so annoying, isn't it? I'll go to the kitchen with a mission. A mission. I'm going to.
What was it again? Exactly. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's terrible.
Crazy.
It's
Yeah.
and people can't really understand. I think I feel for my partner because I know he's one of the people who are being more affected with all of this. You
Yeah.
know? But it's like I just can't. It feels like my brain doesn't work. If I feels like something that I hear a lot with women talking about perimenopause, I don't feel like myself. I don't know who I am sometimes.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, it's
I think a lot of it is about flowing with it though, and just being, this is how it is right now, and just okay, this is how it is. I know I mean, I've had my jumper on and off and off and on.
Yes.
And it's like, I think I can keep the jumper on, it's gonna go away in a minute. And it's not gonna go away. Just I'm gonna burn out if I don't take my jumper off.
But it's I agree with what you said. Sometimes you just need to kind of allow the things to come. Yes, but having said that, imagine I'm a massage therapist. When I'm in the middle of a session and suddenly I have this flash that are like this heat that you're like sweating like a pig. I mean, it's not nice, it's the heat inside. And
Mm.
then the temperature in the room, it's completely different than the temperature that you're perceiving,
Yeah.
and it's hard to work because it's physically challenging. And also you
Yeah.
don't wanna drip on top of the person you are giving a massage.
Yeah.
So it's
Totally.
like
Yeah.
it's challenging. And then dealing the mental beat of understanding that you're going through this and it's okay. Eventually you're gonna have these hot flashes and you're gonna have to stop, take a few deep breaths. Yes. But also knowing that, for example, there is some teas that I can have in a
Yes.
daily base that can help me, like sage.
Yeah.
It's something
Yeah.
that makes a difference. So now
So
I don't wake up
what
every morning completely soaked.
yeah.
It's a little bit better. At least my partner in my side of the bed is all dry when we wake up. A few months ago, it was like my side of the bed completely soaked.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's really
mm,
hard, for everyone involved, not only for me.
definitely. So what things have you taken? Because you're on a HRT, you said, and what made you? Because I know you took a long time to decide if that was right for you or not. And how did you come
Yeah.
to that decision?
So I came to that decision because I was really struggling to
Mm,
go through natural ways.
yeah.
Um, and especially what I feel the most is the fatigue. Fatigue is really hard on my body. It's like I know what I have to do. I make a to-do list, and then my body's just like sometimes it just can't function.
Mm,
So there are things that are helping me on my journey, like omega-3. I just went on holidays and I stopped taking because, so many supplements, and I thought, when I come back home, I go back to it. So I came back home and I didn't go back to my supplements straight away. It took me about a month more, longer. So for 6 weeks, I didn't take vitamin D, I didn't take fish oil or omega-3. Um, I didn't take milk thistle, which is what I take for liver support. And all this brain fog started to go much and much and much worse. And things of me knowing that I want to clean the house and I go to take the Hoover and I'm just there paralyzed looking at the door where the Hoover is, knowing that I have to take stuff from inside. And it feels like my body and my brain are not quite communicating. So these things are they were getting to a stage that I was really like affecting my whole life, my life with my work, with my partner, with everyone. So that's what made me decide to take HRT. And
mm,
someone told me, and it was really interesting because it was one of the things that now helped me to accept my decision of taking HRT. She says, if I had a thyroid problem, I wouldn't question myself if I should take hormone or not. I would take it because a thyroid
right.
problem means your thyroid's not producing the hormones as it should.
Yes.
So I struggled a lot, of course, because of the things with side effects as well. I think for a while there was a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation about side effects, potential side effects. Of course, if you have a genetic in the family, cancer or can't remember now, it just escaped the word, the blood clots and
Yeah.
things like that. So if you have a genetic predisposition to it, might be that HRT will not be recommended. They will ask you some questions. But what I would like to say to whoever will be watching this at some point is look for information before you go to your GP, because most GPs, doctors, whatever clinicians, they do not have training, they do not have much in university, at school, med school. about this time in the life of a woman. Yeah,
Mm.
most of the researches, and I know that from personal experience, when I did a master in pharmacology, I never did one experiment using female mice because the hormones of the females could change the effects, the results of the drug we were testing.
Oh, wow.
So, from my own experience, I know, you know,
Mm.
most research is not done in women. Why would they? You know, the most research they do with women with fertility would be to help a woman to have kids, not to help her going through the fact that she doesn't have kids anymore or
Mm.
that she won't be able to have kids anymore. You know, it's like you
Mm.
still have a role in society because you potentially can provide another citizen. Now, you don't provide other citizens anymore. You have no more worth for society. Why would we spend money in researching about
It could
perimenopause?
be. It could
You
be.
know?
And that's just the way it is, isn't it? But
Yeah.
there are lots of different ways. As you said, for me, HRT is not something I want to use. I mean, I luckily haven't had it. I work at home. I work freelance, so I'm not in an office. I don't do hands-on body work anymore. So, but I really hear you. And if I was, that would be a difficult thing because we used to be. I used to work in a clinic in a closed room, and it's a controlled environment. So if I hadn't, that would have been difficult, I think. But I'm lucky to be working from home, and I can take my jumper off and on.
Yeah.
Um, but there are many ways to help ourselves. I know there's lots of natural ways like herbs. There are natural ways of HRT, for example.
And the HRT I'm taking at the moment is I'm using the patches because when they gave me two options, using the estrogen cream, and then I would have to take a pill of progesterone because my digestion is very slow and I didn't want to risk not absorb enough through the pill. I then decided to do the constant use of patches. So I change every 3 days. You change the patch. You know, and it's a bioidentical compound. So it means that the molecule that it's being offered to my body, the things that off, the chemical that is being offered to my body, it's
Mm.
exactly the same molecule of the estrogen that my body produce, but
And
it's
there aren't,
made from a plant. So it's a
it's what,
bio,
sorry?
it's made from a plant. It's not
Right.
made in laboratory.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not a compound that someone chemically made it. It's a compound that it's in the plant and they remove
Mm.
that roughly for us to
Mm.
understand.
And this is through the doctor that you got this?
Well, the testosterone and estrogen, the estrogen and progesterone, you can go through GP and request it. They are normally very resistant because, you know, like my case, I'm 40 years old and I'm like, are you sure you're perimenopausal? They only accepted that I'm perimenopausal because my cycles now are I'm bleeding every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, it's all over the place.
Yeah.
Until then, until I've mentioned this to them, they've been telling me for 4 years, you are not perimenopausal. This is not perimenopause. You're too young for perimenopause. So for the last 4 years, my body's already dealing with the decline of estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone. This is affecting my life. This is
Yeah.
affecting the way I behave with other people.
Mm.
This anger, this is it's unbelievable.
Mm.
It's unbelievable. Sometimes I'm like surprised I didn't kill someone, on the way to the supermarket or something. It's like crazy.
Wow. I
So
didn't realize that was part of it. So that's been an eye opener for me. And we're just about to open, we're opening up to, you can ask Juliana direct questions if you want to. I'm just going to make it so that you can unmute yourselves and have a chat and ask questions directly if you want to. Do share, what journey you've had or what have you tried that's helped you for those who are listening. And if you want to share anything that's made sense for you, or if you've had something perhaps similar to Juliana, so you can just unmute yourself if you want to ask
Can
question.
I can
Time.
I just one last thing before
Yeah,
we
of
open
course.
some questions,
Yeah,
because
we'll keep
I've
chatting
mentioned,
anyway.
I've mentioned about the tools I've been kind of collecting on my toolbox to deal with perimenopause. And for me was big difference when I started working on my lymphatic system. Yeah. So when I talk about lymphatic system, I'm talking about what? We don't know much sometimes. The lymphatic system is that system that will come around and clear up the body from toxins. So it's
Yes.
like the cleaning system of the body. Because most of us are working in front of a computer, sitting down with our joints without moving, all the lymph nodes, they're completely stuck because we are like this.
Yes.
And then groins behind our knees, it's all stuck. So practices that I did, and I'm gonna pass it to you, the links to some people, and just one that I particularly would like to
Great.
share with you is Dr. Caitlin. She has a page on YouTube and Instagram called Doc Talk Detox, and she has a beautiful like collection of material, videos and things to support you to understand how to decongest your lymph nodes, how to drain your body with simple practices. Yeah. And then some of the things that I would like to show you that maybe you heard about and you would like to sometime try. Dry brush is a great thing.
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing when you're working with lymphatic system that we need to remember is that pressure, direction, and what was the other thing? Pressure, direction, and order matters. Yeah. So when you open your lymphatic system, when you decongest your lymph nodes, you want to not do from here, but always start from close to the lymph node. Yeah. And then going lower. And that works all around the body. This you can use on the body, you can use on the face. Then there's these little tools, gua sha,
Hmm.
for face. That is something that can also
I've seen those
encourage,
before.
yeah, the encourage your lymphatic system to decongest, especially around the area on your
And
face.
where do you get those from?
Got them from Amazon.
Mhm.
Um, these
What,
ones,
what?
a friend gave it to me, but the other ones you can find, and this one would be for the body. Yeah, so
Okay.
similar to the dry brush, when you
Yeah.
apply, so first you open your lymph nodes, and then would you do some.
And what are they called? How do people find some of
So
these?
this is a gua sha. You find as gua sha, stainless steel gua sha. They're the best for cleaning and maintenance. So I had one made of jade, but then I've read some reviews talking about the difficulties in cleaning in the bacteria and how, then you're spreading the bacteria on the skin. So I decided to buy this one. And they're very important tools for me that I can use daily. I don't use all of them daily, but I constantly use, at least I'm going to use one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that is really important, and I really would like to encourage everyone there, is to get yourself one of
Yeah.
these. Yeah. This is a rebounder.
I was just thinking about that recently. My friend sent me a link for it, and Barbara O'Neill said it's one of the most important, the best exercises you can do.
Exactly. And that was one of the biggest inspirations for me to get one and start using one was Barbara New. By the way, she has lots of materials, nice, good stuff on how to regulate your hormones naturally, not regulate because it's not something like we can regulate our hormones in perimenopause. The hormones are all over the place and they're supposed to be all over the place. But there are a few things that we can use, like herbs, like teas, like things to support jumping on a mini trampoline, having yourself once a week a dry brush, going for sauna, you know. Don't think about, oh, now I don't have time to include all these things on my routine. You don't
Do
have
a
to
bit of
start doing
this and a
everything
bit
at
of
the
that.
same time,
Mm.
but see what you connect. Maybe you're going to connect with the dry brush and you're not going to connect with the gua sha. Or maybe you're going to really connect with the jumping on the trampoline and you're not going to connect much with shaking your body just on the ground. Like that's why it's important for us to get to know our bodies and how our body's reacting to things. Because sometimes it might be that, going to the gym, mentally, who likes going to the gym? But that every time you go to the gym, you feel much better about yourself.
Well, I think it's
Your body's
important to
stronger and everything. So,
I think it's important to do things that resonate for you and works for you. I mean, I was going to the gym for a while, and as you say, the only way I can cope with it is be on the earphones and or watch videos or whatever while I'm running or something. But I'm like you. I'm a dancer too, and before I had kids, I was doing it semi-professional. So I've started dancing again, and I love. And hours can go by. I don't care until I can't stand anymore. I'm
it's
dancing.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's all for your lymph and your heart rate and your cardiovascular and your emotions, your mental state, doing things that you love. I mean, I know with
Yeah.
my mother, she couldn't stand any form of exercise. She hated it with a
Fine.
hateness. And but what she did love was restaurants. So she spent a lot of time walking around. She loved walking and she had a little dog. So she'd go around everywhere investigating restaurants. And she'd walk. So she'd be walking and walking and walking and doing something she loved. And she could do that all day,
And
you
that's
know?
a great thing. And I think this is for me the most important when you choose an activity for your body. You need to somehow connect with that thing. If you're just deciding to
Yes.
start something because someone told you to do and you didn't develop your own relationship with that thing, chances are you're gonna do for a while and then you're gonna be so frustrated, so fed up because you're not gonna be having
Exactly.
fun and you're gonna give up.
You're going to
So
get the opposite. You're going to get the opposite effects, aren't you? I've just given up my gym membership, and I'm getting so much joy now. And I'm meeting my old friends I used to before I had the kids, and it's just I feel I'm flying. I'm on a bit of a high for a while. I'm still thinking of the last time. I'm going again soon. So yeah, do things that fit for you. And also about a natural HRT. Barbara O'Neill recommends Anna's Wild Yam Cream, and it's something I've been using a lot as well. You can get it from the Good Food Project, which have also been on the podcast talking about food and everything, but also products like that. Uh,
I did use the cream she recommended. I was
mhm.
using for about 3 or 4 months before I started
Nice.
taking HRT.
How did you get on with it?
For me particularly, I didn't see much difference.
Okay.
Um, but of course, it's a cream. It's much more variable than the amount I have from the hormone on my HRT. I know that more or less this is being released constantly throughout the time that it's there. When it's a pump or a cream that you can put it on your fingers, you might be using sometimes not enough, or places of absorption as well. Like I remember they used to say arms inside the legs
The
and
sort of
belly, if I'm not wrong.
all the soft bits, isn't it? Soft
Yeah,
areas.
so
Mm.
I mean, I guess in a way, everything helps a little bit. Now, I
Yeah.
take red clover. Yeah. A friend
Ah.
from Russia said to me a while ago, I start taking red clover.
Mhm.
I'm taking shatavari from Ayurveda. I'm not sure if this is the name, how you spell.
I don't know
But,
that one.
you know, can I tell you, oh, this is the one how I don't know because I'm doing so many things. I'm
Okay.
taking creatine, I'm taking collagen, I'm taking protein, I'm taking milk tea, so vitamin D, omega-3, iodine, magnesium, so all these things that we think, even they
Mm.
sometimes you think, oh, I eat well, I don't need supplements. We do, because even if we eat organic from a good farm, our soils are so depleted that most of the minerals and vitamins that we're supposed to be getting through the food, we are not having it.
Mm.
So it's a very delicate situation that we're in. I mean, the Gabor Mate talks about the myth of normal. And
Mm.
it's like, if we think about it, the way we live life these days is very different than what normal used to be for our ancestors, hunter-gatherer,
Totally.
you
Totally.
know?
Another life.
But our bodies are responding to the normality that is today, is the normality of, well, maybe we're not, our ancestors wouldn't live like that, but the world these days is producing diseases and things that are natural, it's expected. So
Yes.
like
This menopause.
perimenopause,
Sorry?
maybe like the perimenopause,
Yeah.
maybe, ladies 50, 60, 70 years old ago, they didn't struggle with the things that we are struggling today, but they didn't
Mm.
have so much polyester, there was not so much plastic, there was not so much preservatives in the food, not so much preservatives in the supplements. So anyway,
life was life was very different for a woman before. So
definitely.
we're just about to finish off the call now. If you want to put in your last questions to Juliana and ask her a direct question, if you want to share anything, do so now. So just while I'm coming to bringing it to a close, Juliana, where do people get in contact with you if they're having trouble with their before, during, and after? So perimenopause is what? Is it the build up to the finishing the period, or what's the? I always get confused. Is it?
So the menopause is the day after you have 1 year without bleeding. This is
Oh,
menopause. Is that
oh,
one day?
okay, right.
Perimenopause is all the period. So it's all the time from when your hormones start to fluctuate.
Mm,
That doesn't mean when your bleeding becomes irregular. Yeah.
mm,
Because my bleeding just became irregular this year, but the symptoms that my estrogen is declining, my progesterone is declining, their symptoms appearing since 4 years ago.
mm.
Yeah. So the perimenopause is not, doesn't start when your bleeding starts to become irregular.
Got it.
Perimenopause is when your hormones start to fluctuate in a very
Mm.
abnormal way, that not the cyclical way that they're supposed to.
And
So
all the
this
different
is the
things that you've been,
perimenopause.
and all the different symptoms you've been mentioning along the talk today.
Exactly.
And
That
then
there's
menopause is,
more than this, not only the ones I've mentioned, but the other symptoms as well.
yes. And then so menopause is when you stop that last bleed, and then that's it. So menopause is for the rest of your life, or menopause is.
It's like, well, some people call it post-menopausal
Mm,
because you're already past the menopause. But in reality, if you don't have a bleeding anymore, you can call yourself a menopause woman because you've already
mm,
been through menopause. Or you
mm,
can call yourself post-menopause. It's more a question of labels. But once
mm.
you stop your bleeding, that's it. There's no more up and downs of hormones because it's more about, getting to that point where the body is understanding, okay, we don't have more eggs to release.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's a different phase of our lives, you know.
Thank you. And Juliana, where do people get in contact with you? I mean, you do all this beautiful body work, I know, and I'll link the your other podcast if people would like to hear more about that side of you, of your work. But if people are struggling with menopause, perimenopause, or anything in between, and as we've talked about it, it's very adapted to each individual person. What things are you going? Maybe it's HRT, maybe it's the rebounder, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. So if people need help with the to navigate their menopause for them, where do people find you? How do they get in contact with you?
So you can contact me on either through email or Instagram. My email would be journeybacktotheself@gmail.com. And on Instagram also with Journey Back to the Self. I don't know how to call the spaces. There's the little spaces in the name, so it's not all together. Um, at the moment, I'm offering Renata França lymphatic drainage massage, which is an amazing technique that has been supporting myself and other people so much with lymphatic drainage, especially in this perimenopause time. So if you never heard about Renata França and you'd like to have a try, Mondays and Wednesdays at 50 Hill Rise in Richmond, and
Right.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, I'm on my usual place, Journey
Yep. So
Back to
that's it
Myself, my studio in Isleworth.
in Isleworth. So Isleworth and Richmond. And if
Yes.
people, if that's not possible, they might be listening to this many miles away. So go and find a lymphatic drainage person near you. And I mean,
But
I
not only, I would say, not only go and find a lymphatic drainage, something that's really important. This Renata França technique is a technique that from all the different lymphatic drainage techniques I experience is one of that gave me fastest results. Not
yeah.
only in, of course, Renata França is very she's famous in the aesthetic world, and I'm see myself a therapist more into the health than the aesthetic. But having said that, this technique, it's like every time I go for a session, I feel great and I feel great for few days, like lymphatic wise.
Mm.
I feel light. It's like my body's really feels the difference of being drained. It's like someone is helping your body to drain by pushing all the lymph back to your lymph nodes. And that's beautiful. So if you don't live West London and if you'd like to connect with this technique, look around close to you. Renata França method of lymphatic drainage. She has a
Would you just spell the her name?
Renata, Renata Franca. This is Renata França. Yeah.
And oh yes,
Lymphatic
you've got
drainage.
lymphatic drainage.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And
On her
Carla's just,
website, you can find therapists all around London. So if can't come to me because it's too far from you, you can find anywhere else in London. There's lots of therapists around.
uh, and all over. We do have people listening all over the world. So wherever you are, it's quite a popular technique these days, lymphatic drainage.
Yes, it is. And
And
it is, I
Carla,
can say to you from my spirit, I have 20 years working with massage. I've never experienced in my own body a session of lymphatic drainage that made me feel really like a difference, you know? And that's why I decided to go and do the course because I experience firsthand. It's like, it's beautiful. The way you feel more energized, like your body feel more awake. So if
absolutely.
anyone there feels curious about this is something that definitely I would encourage you. And the things that you can do yourself, get a rebounder, get a dry brush or gua sha, and create your own routine, moving around, making sure your body is receiving the nourishment that it needs to.
Exactly. Thank you so much. And Carla's just left, but I just she'd probably see the recording. Thanks very much for this. I have started navigating the perimenopause symptoms for the last 6 months and have come across a lot of what was discussed today, but do appreciate the sharing. Thank you, Carla, for saying. Yeah, we all go through it. It's a bit of a mystery for women too. And you've helped to kind of clarify the kind of pointers here and the actions people can do. So thank you everybody for joining us. There were quite a few people, but I know a couple of people couldn't make it for certain reasons. But the recording is going to be out on my website by tomorrow. So you can go to painfreedom.co.uk and look at this recording as much as and all the other recordings. Let's have a look at many recordings there. You can also book yourself onto the next podcasts. We have two tomorrow, three this week. So do go along to painfreedom.co.uk and you can choose to come on the live calls or watch the replays for things that interest you. So I always like to leave the last word to my guests. Juliana, what would you like to leave people with? A thought or a practice or a focus? Something to think about?
Um, well, first, saying thank you for opening the space to bring this conversation. I think it's so important. And one of the things that I didn't mention during the talk, but I think it's maybe one of the reasons why I feel more deeply connected to this need to bring awareness of the things we've been going through with perimenopause is because the biggest suicide rates between women happens between those years of perimenopause, so 50s and 45, 55.
That's shocking.
And one of things that for me had been coming, and it's quite hard to also bring the awareness, is how much the perimenopause can affect our mental health, and how, for example, suicide thoughts are things that might become more often present. So I really just would like to tell everyone out there who are experiencing perimenopause or any sort of, emotional roller coaster, and I guess it's many of us experiencing this today. But especially if you're perimenopausal woman, if you'd like to connect, and talk about it, I'm here for you. You're not alone. I think one of the hardest things for me experiencing menopause or going through perimenopause is not feeling like I have a network or community or a group of friends and family or people who are also going through this. So I think it's really important for us to get together, to know ourselves, to know our bodies, and to ask for help when we need to ask for help, and to say, look, I'm really struggling here. What have you been doing that could support me on this process? So yeah, I hope you're not alone, and it's not an easy journey, but it's a very rewarding one. For me, learning how to set my boundaries, one of the most beautiful things of perimenopause, and acknowledging the gift that it is to be in this journey, and the gifts of this journey to other people around me as well. So stay strong. We can do that.
Thank you so much, Juliana. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and sharing your wisdom and your knowledge and guidance. Thank you, everybody, for joining us and listening in. Wherever you're listening into this podcast, whether it's on Spotify or Apple, wherever you're listening to it, if you want to get the recording sent straight to you, hit the notification bell, hit subscribe so you have the recordings come straight to you. You don't go looking for anything. And it really, really helps to spread the awareness and to more people, to help more people. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Juliana. And that was
Um,
words of wisdom. Have a beautiful day.
to